In this video, we are going to be replacing aluminum windows in my 1960s house with vinyl double pane Pella windows. While replacement windows are available, we opted to go for an off-the-shelf model, which we found on sale for $50 per window. This allowed us to do $1,500 worth of window for the low price of $500. I had never replaced windows on a brick house before and was worried that it would be excessively difficult. But as it turns out, it is not only quite doable, but it is a perfect task for an avid do-it-yourselfer. For this job, the flanges had to be removed from the windows, and to do that was simply scoring along the bottom of the flange with a razor blade and then folding it over to snap it off. So let's get started with the window removal. If you have ever watched a home improvement show, you would know that the first thing they do to replace windows is throw a sledgehammer through it. But that seemed to be absolutely ridiculous and require a lot of cleanup. So we opted to remove the glass in a sane manner. Aluminum windows are put together with screws along the outside perimeter. And when you have a brick house, the flange that attaches the window to the wall is underneath the brick. So the only way that we could devise of removing these windows was to hollow out the window frame with the aid of a hacksaw and allow us to have access to squish the frame in such a manner that we could get it out of the hole. As you can see, the hung window frame just comes right out, leaving me with a gaping hole. Next step is I took my flat bar and I pry up the window seat and allow access where I can use my reciprocating saw to cut through the frame, allowing me to tug on the edges. The windows are assembled with steel screws, so be sure when you're cutting through the frame that you're at least a couple inches away from the corners so you don't have to dull your blade. Once you have made your cut, pull up one half of the bottom frame of the window slightly above the other so when you start prying on the sidewalls that it will not interfere with the rest of it. And then you'll be fighting the caulk or silicone or pookie, whatever you call it. You'll find that that is actually the hardest part of the window removal. All right, as we pry these back, it starts to expose the nails in the flange here. I don't know if you can see that. That gives us enough room. We can get a hammer in there usually and pry them out. I've been prying back the window enough. I can get my little hammer in there and pull out the nails. Most of these windows have 2 nails, sometimes they have 3. Alright, here's another trick. You pry the window out a little bit, expose the nail, get in from the back side to loosen the nail a little bit. Pry it open. We'll stand a pretty good chance of getting a bite on the nail. Once again, pry the nail out. Yeah. On my particular windows, the original installers must have not had a ladder because there were no nails up high. The window is dangling there solely off of the strength of the silicone. And as you will soon see, it is actually incredibly strong. Much stronger than even the nails or screws could ever hope to be. Eventually, after cutting the silicone back a little bit, I am able to remove the window. Because the window frames that we bought were not very thick it turned out that the only place we had to screw through them
out.
happened to be directly in the center of the void in between the brick and the wall. What we wound up doing was ripping down some boards and securing them to the studs in the wall in between the two, so we would have something to drill into to secure the window in place. We use shims to get our window spaced evenly in the opening, and then also to maintain level. But quarter round and silicone goes a long ways to sealing these off, and the final product is based solely on how well you trim out the window. I honestly feel that the silicone does such a good job that if you could just hold the window in place long enough for the silicone to set up, you wouldn't even need to attach it, because that stuff is brutally strong. But here you can see the window seat and the trim job we did. Actually, I let my dad do the trim work because that's sort of his specialty. Uh, he's an expert in the last 1% of a job to make it look good. He used to tell me that even if you did 99% of the job perfectly and you didn't finish it off well, that no one would be happy with it. We did have one window on the house that the flange was not under brick. It was, in fact, under masonite. So we just cut it back and stuck the window in with the flanges on, and then pieced in some hardy board over the masonite that we cut off. This window, a louvered window, went a little differently. It had screws on the front that, once removed, the glass came out and revealed this metal trim here. And we just left that trim there and used that to anchor our window into place. And then, of course, we needed to do a little bit of brick repair in a few places. It's a good idea to go ahead and take care of all that while you have easy access to it. Because inevitably, if you're really prying on these windows, you might pop a couple bricks loose. All in all, it's not that big of a deal. Well, that's how we replaced our windows. And I hope this video was useful to you in some way, shape, form, or fashion. And don't be afraid to do this. It's really not that hard. It's a little bit labor intensive and it takes some time, but you can do it. I promise.
What are you doing, boy?
Filming you, Daddy. What are you doing?
We're taking out these old aluminum windows in your house and putting in some vinyl windows.
Vinyl.
Well, they're good vinyl aluminum windows. They're okay windows. They're as good as this house deserves.
Yeah.
Not top of the line, not bottom of the line.
So you can see the brick, mortar. I don't know.
That's your finger.
That's my finger. I don't know what that is.
Modern houses are made of toilet paper, such as this.
Yeah. You hear that? Modern houses are made of toilet paper. We're gonna see if our new windows will just fall right in here. That might be nice. It's a wonderful idea for a resale of this house in 10 years when the new windows are outdated. It was for the environment. We care about the environment.